Is it one of them?
Judge Zellweger. Hi, Judge. It's Kathleen Shaul.
Right there.
Hey, Kathleen. How are you? I'm doing well, thank you. I think we have Angela on the phone. Venus Jackson.
Yes, I'm on the phone.
Hi, Venus. Okay, wonderful. So I guess we're all here. We've got counsel, the GAL, and the pro se. So what I wanted to do today was, number one, catch up with where we are,
That's all.
and then two, sort of talk about where we're going. But I know those are two big things. But so the first thing, like I said, is I'd like to do a quick status conference. Ms. Forna, do you intend to get new counsel, or are you going to appear self-represented?
I'm going to probably have to appear as self-representative.
Okay. No, that's fine. I just wanted to understand what your plan was.
Okay.
And GAL, if you would, give us an update on what's been going on, where you see things going. I haven't really heard from the parties other than trying to figure out what her summer thing was. I did talk to my client, who's just a child, and she called me stating that she had some concerns about her father that she did approach him about, because the stepsister that was living with him and her, she reported that he had been abusive to her and her mom, and so now she has concerns about seeing her dad. She reported that 2 weeks ago. Other than that, I have not really heard from the parties what occurred. I do feel like we need to have a revised plan in place, because she's older, that ensures that dad gets his time, but then also allows her to be around mom as well. As we noted, and I don't know, that mom's drug test was negative for everything except marijuana, which we knew she was going to have in her system. Other than that, I think that we need to have a plan that solidifies when she goes, and also help the parents understand that they are the ones that make the decision. She has input, but she doesn't get the final say. And to also, I can't fix the communication issue. Dad states that he has not talked to her since March, or a little bit over before March, and has had problems communicating with her since. Other than that, I have nothing else to report, because I haven't. No parties has really reached out, and other than my client. So you said a lot, actually, even though you didn't think that was a big update. So when you said Dad hasn't talked to her since March, I assume you mean Dad hasn't talked to the child? Correct. He has not talked to the child. He said he had been, the email that I received from him stated that he had been having problems communicating, or she wouldn't answer the phone. Now, my client stated she called him when the stepsister called her and reported this and confronted him with it, and he denied it. So they had to have some type of, according to my client, they had some type of communication as it relates to that. And did you say with respect to the stepsister? Yes. So my client and the stepsister were close, and of course the court knows that information had been received, about the stepsister and her relationship with my client. And so my client called me and said that she has some concerns about going back to her dad, because the stepsister is moving out and is reporting that her father was hitting on her and his wife. And now she has concerns about going with her dad, because she doesn't know what her dad is going to do to her. That is what she reported. And she said when I called him about it, he denied it. So I know that there was some type of communication within the last 2 or 3 weeks, because that's when she called me and reported that. Okay. When you talk about the issue with the custody plan and having I think to use the phrase, a revised plan in place. I assume that means a deviation from the existing plan, summer plan that they have now, which I think, and I don't have it in front of me, I can pull it up actually while we talk, but I assume that gives Dad most of the summer because it's an out-of-state plan. But can you speak to what you had in mind?
Well, I would like to make sure that there's set dates or estimated dates of what's going on, because what the history is that, according to Dad, and Mom states differently, is that when it's time for her to go, there's excuses, and if she doesn't go, and then one summer, Mom even withheld her. So I really would like a more set schedule if we can, and also even if we cannot break the summer up because he lives so far, but to try to accommodate her age and her activities in that schedule. I know she has activities up there with Dad, but she also has friends down here. So I just think that we should just try to look at it and approach it in a, because the current plan is for her when she was under a certain age, a more teenage-friendly plan that allows her to have both, both sides and, both interactions with her friends here and her friends, and that she had acquired at Dad's out of town.
Okay, so on the last settlement conference that we had, and this is the one that Ms. Brenner had missed, and then she had requested this conference. That conference we talked about when was the child's last day of school, and the judgment indicated that the child goes to see Dad. I think my recollection was the Friday after the last day of school, or that appeared to be today. I told the parties, and it was actually even before Ms. Brenner raised it, although she's later raised it, the COVID issue, and I said that I was not comfortable having the child fly at this point in time with COVID, and that if Dad was going to exercise his custody period, which obviously he indicated through counsel that he would be doing, that I wanted the child driven by Dad or another way that would be safe rather than flying. And so we had sort of started to address that issue last time. I know Mom had later then expressed a concern about the child's safety and even going up there with COVID. As you know, the St. Louis County Court's position on this issue is that unless one of the parents is actually infected or something along those lines, the custody plans continue and proceed the way they're entered. So, my position is that the child is going to go up to see Dad during what would be his normal custody time now, in a way that's safe. And so if the court's also willing to entertain Ms. Jackson's comments about having time with, either with both parents or allowing the child based on age to have some, maybe some additional flexibility. So, Venus, what's your thought on when you say additional flexibility, and I'm going to pull up the judgment while we're talking to make sure I get this right, but what in your mind, what did that look like?
Well, at this point, she can't have the flexibility that she probably would have when we didn't have COVID. What I'm saying is that she, might want to participate in certain activities with her school, and so giving Dad his time, but also allowing her to kind of have break it up periods if parties can afford it, in order for her to participate, like if she has cheerleading camp or something like that, activities that she would want to do here, if in fact the court decides that she gets to stay here and not move with Dad. And even if she did move with Dad, I would like her to have some type of time with Mom during the summer as well, because she's at the age where she has her own friend, her own agenda, and they're going to only have a couple, maybe 2 years of time where she's really going to want to deal with either one of them. So I'm just saying, breaking up the summer if it's reasonable. I do agree with you, Honor, about not having her fly and that she needs to drive. But I know this summer would not be a big issue about activities because
due to COVID, I can't see her being, unless the parents did something different, being around her friends like she was before.
So I just pulled up the judgment, and actually the judgment I think is going to be something that you're going to tell me is acceptable to you. The judgment as it stands now indicates that she goes up from her first day of summer vacation, so that is what I was thinking. It's the first day after the last day of school, until July 12th. So right now they're actually splitting the summer, and I don't see a reason why, if they're splitting the summer, that we would deviate from that this year, because if that means essentially we've got all of June and half of July, and then Mom's got half of July, and I think the schools are starting back like August 20th this year. So it's almost a rough 50-50 split, actually, in the summer.
The reason why I say that, Your Honor, because I know that they had, and I don't know if they're going to honor it, but they had passed the, I don't know if it's a law or whatever that stated that they would start school after Labor Day. Now, I know that since COVID, they might be doing something different, and that's why I said that we might want to look at that going forward, not this year, but next year, because that was my understanding, and that's what they were going to do, that they weren't going to start school until after Labor Day because of whatever issues occurred before. So that's the reason why I based that that's the reason why I based that on my comments. So if they're going to start school early this year despite that, then I agree with you. But I was thinking about the future because they had passed that where they wouldn't start school till after Labor Day.
Okay. And I am just guessing on when they're starting school, so I could be wrong on the start date. So let me throw this out there now, and I'm going to go back to the GAL on my other issues, but I want to throw out to Ms. Freiner at the council. We'll start with you, Ms. Freiner. I assume that based on the judgment and the current custody schedule, that I guess you and the child have some concerns about Dad, but setting aside those concerns, I assume that you're going to produce the child for Dad's custody time for the next, I guess it's roughly going to be 6 weeks. Is that true?
Yeah,
May I jump in, please? I think you're misreading the judgment. Dad has custody for the summer in even-numbered years. If you look on paragraph 2, other vacation provision.
Yes, one summer's long, one summer's short.
Okay, so you're right, and I was reading the wrong one. Even-numbered years, which is what we are in. Father shall have custody during the child's entire summer break. Okay, so that does change my reading. I apologize. Okay. Well, let's go back to Mom then, with that amendment.
Excuse me? Yes, he's coming down. He's supposed to be here Sunday, I believe, to pick her up.
Okay. All right, and then is the plan, and I'm going to stay with Mom temporarily, and I did read the judgment wrong. I was reading odd numbered years, and I just missed that part. Is the plan then for her to spend the majority of the summer there?
That's what the parenting plan is for this year.
Okay. All right, and then Kathleen, let's go to you. Is that also Dad's understanding? Is he's going to have her for the entire summer break?
Yes, and he's arriving on Sunday morning and has been in communication with Mom and arriving Sunday, and we'll have her for the summer.
He has not been in communication with me.
He is driving judge.
Ms. Foreigner, go ahead.
He's not been in communication with me. Delilah had told me this. He spoke with her the other day.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to make a little bit of a revised comment based on the GAL comment that you have some time with Mom in St. Louis. So I think what we probably should do, and Venus, you can correct me if I am not saying that right, but based on my incorrect reading of this, is it your suggestion then that we allocate some number of weeks to Mom over the summer, even though he's supposed to have the entire summer?
Yes, not this summer, but I just think that I need to look at the plan going forward for starting next year because of her age, and I'll look at it and do a suggestion. I'm not saying that the parties will agree to it, but to give her a little bit more flexibility in her time and consider her in the plan and not only the parent. So I can revise that and have that out and look at it in more in depth and send it out. So not this summer, but the summers going forward. I think we need to look at that because of her age and her grade level and things of this.
Okay. No, and that's fine. And I will say that I would normally define entire summer break to be something short of the entire summer. So what I would say is what we should do is look at our calendars, look at when she starts school or tentatively. And I know that I just got an email from our school district that is shifting on us potentially. I think it's shifting in a lot of school districts due to the COVID issue like we talked about earlier. So I'd like a plan for when she's going to be back. And I would like Mom to have at least a week or two at the end of summer with her for her to settle back into St. Louis. So I know.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
This case is about relocation, and I expect the evidence will be compelling for Your Honor to change custody and that the child be attending school from Dad. So the assumption that she needs to be back in St. Louis, I think, is premature. There's much about this case that Your Honor has not yet heard, and even the fact that Dad has communicated about his travel to St. Louis to pick up the child, even something as simple as that is contested. As Your Honor will recall, you ordered Ms. Freiner to take a drug test in October, and she didn't take it until in the recent weeks. There's much to be considered, and just presuming something that, when we haven't had a trial, we haven't had any evidence, I think is not based on what Your Honor is going to hear at trial. We haven't. No, and I understood we were having getting a trial setting today, not changing the parenting plan that's in place for 2020 summer.
No, and that we are. I was just basing my comments off of the GAL comments, but it sounds like the GAL is comfortable with the summer schedule. I was indicating that we would want to have the child come back for some time to get ready for school here, but you're exactly right. We're going to be scheduling a trial that will take place before the end of the summer, so I don't think we need today. I was just trying to give everybody some temporary plans, but you're exactly right. We're going to have our trial before then, and so I don't know that we need an end date if we're going to have our trial, which will then make that determination. So that's fine, Captain.
And what I heard the GAL say is that depending on what the court decides as to residential custody, she said that Your Honor will make that determination after hearing the evidence. So I don't think that she was so resolute as Your Honor might have heard. And I would like a trial setting and an opportunity for the evidence to come in, Judge. And it's my client's position that this child is in crisis.
I agree with her going there altogether. I've been given some video of their home and the stepdaughter and her being in fear, leaving the home, moving back to Phoenix because of the abuse in the home.
And Judge, I would ask that we put on the evidence in trial rather than this kind of loose conversation on the telephone. I dispute that, and we'll put on the evidence at trial. And Dad hasn't spoken to, by the way, Dad hasn't spoken to Delilah since March.
That's not true. He spoke to her 2 days ago.
Excuse me. But Dad has not spoken with Delilah since March, and the records will show he is called daily. And the child doesn't call him back and it doesn't answer despite his pleas for mother's help in that regard. So that evidence will all come in, Judge, and if we could just get a trial setting, I think this isn't productive for Ms. Freiner and I to argue in front of Your Honor in the settlement conference.
Well, I don't believe it's safe for her to even go there. With the video that I've received, I don't feel my daughter should be objected
Judge,
to that.
I don't think there's anything pending in that regard.
I feel that there is.
So Ms. Freiner, I think the best way for you to address this is to is to speak with the GAL, and if the GAL has a concern about the safety of her client, the GAL is going to file a motion.
Okay.
So I think the best way to handle this is if you've got safety concerns for your daughter, then well, there's two ways you can handle it. One, you can set your own hearing, or two, you can, yeah?
I don't think that we should be giving legal advice to Ms. Freiner. I really am very uncomfortable with this conversation.
I would tell counsel that they would need to set a hearing on something, Ms. Shaul, so that is not legal advice. Or you can raise it with the GAL, and the GAL will raise the issue with the court.
Okay.
If needed. So I'm looking at trial dates because that's what our next issue is. So how long of a trial? I think we only had it set for 1 day before. I don't know if that's sufficient based on what everyone's telling me now or not. So you guys tell me, how long is this trial to be?
Judge Deb has been moving, and I think that it will be a day, a full day. I don't know what Ms. Freiner has, if anything, but a full day from Dad's point of view. Maybe we need a day and a half, I don't know.
Gina, what's your position on the amount of time needed?
A day should be sufficient. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm asking questions, so I don't have any evidence to present at this point. So my position is a day and a half, unless Ms. Freiner has something, it's sufficient for me.
Okay. Ms. Freiner, what's your position on how long the trial will take?
I'm in agreement to a day, day and a half.
Okay. So your case is going to get priority, which means your case is now going to bump another case that I have previously set, which means no one's going to be thrilled with me or with you guys. They won't know that you bumped them, though. So I'm looking at what makes the most sense to schedule, because I can't bump another case that has a residential custody issue either. So if you would, just stand by with me for 1 second. I start to look up some of these cases that we're going to bump and see what the issue is in that case. So I don't bump a case that I shouldn't be bumping.
I don't know how he's traveled.
Sorry, guys. The first two that I pulled up both have
He's on probation.
education issues in them, so keep
No,
holding.
they stayed.
do probably is give you a date, and then I'm going to have to go talk to the other group and confirm. I think I found a case that is not going to receive priority, and if that holds true, then I think I can put you on July 15th. Frankly, that'll probably be one of our first trials back at the courthouse. But that case looks like it does not involve a school issue. Are you guys free on that day by chance?
Kathleen Shaul, yes, Your Honor.
Now, give me 1 second so I can look at the A and B schedule for my division. 1 second. That should be fine. If not, I'll find coverage. I can do the 15.
Okay. Ms. Freiner?
1 second. That should be okay.
Okay. So your new trial date is going to be July 15th. As I mentioned, that's probably going to be one of the earlier trials that will proceed in the courthouse. I think we'll be in the appropriate phase at that point to be able to conduct the trial. But again, I can't give you guys any certainty. If we're not in phase 2 at that point, we will not be able to proceed. If we are in phase 2, then that's not going to be a problem. And I would suspect that date is a safe date. But that, again, is just my guess based on where we are at the courthouse, okay? So I'm going to issue an order today removing your trial setting, which I think was next week. Yes. You're removing June 5 and setting you for July 15th at 10 a.m. for 1 day. I'm going to assume that we can get this in 1 day. And if not, that I might be able to put you the following day in the afternoon. So I guess if you want to be on the safe side, you can reserve, and I'll do it to July 16th, but only in the afternoon. In the morning, I've got too much stuff to bump, but we set you again at 1 on the 16th.
Okay, July 15th. July 15th at 10, Judge, and phase 2 is needed beginning at 1, July 16th.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else for today, anybody?
Yes. Will James be coming himself to pick Delilah up?
As far as I know, Judge, James is driving in to pick up Delilah and will be here Sunday morning.
He's not sending somebody.
Judge, I have said what his plan is. He's driving in and will be in St. Louis on Sunday morning to pick up Delilah.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, thanks everybody. Have a good day.
Judge, have a good day.
Thank you.
Go get that thing right now.
Yep. I gotta get ready.
That's like, and
That was his lawyer.
see, where is it that they just fuzz off from, she does not want to be with the dad into well, we're going to make sure that the dad...
Well, because she's got so much evidence against me because I didn't take I took my test in February.
She didn't have any evidence against you.
I know, she was getting nervous, wasn't she?
Yeah, she said just now. No, weeks. She said weeks.
Yeah, she said in the last few weeks.
Yeah, specifically the weeks.
She was supposed to take it in October.
I took it in February.
I know, she said you only took it in the last few weeks. The father has not spoken with the daughter.
That's not true. He spoke to
Your
her
Honor,
2 days ago.
Your Honor, I don't think you should be giving Ms. Freiner legal counsel right now.
Because she knows she don't got shit, dude.
See, the thing is,
Why are we still recording?